August 15th, and this is the first public hearing on the police oversight measure that the City Council has borne for the November election. And at this time, I will go ahead and open the public hearing. Just by means of bit of explanation to the folks here, for anyone who's watching this recording after the fact, or for anyone who's online now, since we have warned this measure as a charter change for the November ballot, state statute requires that we hold 2 public hearings prior to finalizing the language for submission to the Secretary of State's office for the November ballots. I want to, before getting into more details, I want to thank Sarah Montgomery from the City Clerk's office, as well as Lori Olberg and folks from the City Attorney's office who have helped us to really navigate this public hearing process. The first public hearing will be today, of course, August 15th. There will be a second public hearing on August 22nd at 6 p.m. Both hybrid virtual options to attend, as well as here in the Busher Conference Room. Anyone can participate in the public hearing. That of course includes members of the public. It also includes the city councilors sitting around this table. It could also potentially include representatives from the mayor's office. Based on comments made at either the first or the second public hearing, state statute does permit for amendments based on those comments to be made to the proposed charter item. Those amendments will not be made tonight. Those amendments will also not be made at the second public hearing. However, or immediately after the second public hearing, we have warned a special meeting of the City Council to begin at 7:30 p.m. that evening, where if any councilor wished to bring forward an amendment based on any of the comments made at either public hearing, that would be in order at that time. I've asked councilors as a courtesy that if anyone is proposing an amendment based on comments that are made at this first public hearing, they please submit it to the city attorney's office no later than noon on Monday. I will note that in addition to submitting any amendments to the charter item, you would also need to submit a resolution to change our short form ballot language, which the city council approved at our last meeting on Monday. Although I've asked folks as a courtesy to submit any proposed amendments to the city attorney's office by noon on Monday, the law does allow any councilor to propose an amendment up to and including the special meeting that has been warned for August 22nd. At the moment, no councilor has reached out to indicate an interest in an amendment, and that's obviously due in part to the fact that we have not yet heard any comments at our first public hearing, which we will now turn to. Other than the councilors around this table, who again will have an opportunity to speak, at the moment, we do not have anyone here in the Busher Conference Room to participate in public comment. If there's anyone online who wishes to participate in the public hearing, I will ask that you please use the raised hand function on Zoom. We did have a form that was online for folks to sign up in advance for the public hearing, like we typically do for public comment. No one had signed up previously on that. I think for the purposes of this public hearing, we will do away with our rule that requires that folks sign up at least an hour in advance. So if anyone wants to participate in the public hearing online, again, we'll ask that you use the raise hand function. And generally speaking, in these public hearings, we do not hold folks to the same 2-minute rule that we would in public comment, but I will be sort of loosely timing folks and trying to keep this item on track. So with that, the public hearing is now open. I suppose I will turn first online to any members of the public that wish to participate in the public hearing. Again, you could use the raise hand function, then we would go ahead and promote you. Seeing none, I will then turn to city councilors. I will note Councilor Grant has joined us online. Here in the room, we have councilors Broderick, Berkman, Carpenter, Litwin, and Barlow. Are there any councilors that wish to participate in the public hearing?
I just have a question of who the 7 participants are. Or if we got them all listed.
4 are the 4 that you see on the screen,
Yeah.
including us. And there are 3 individuals on the attendees side.
Okay.
Councilor Grant, do you wish to make a comment at the public hearing?
Sure. Some of it is in a nutshell. I'll just briefly repeat what I've expressed before, because at the charter change meeting this week, I was just deeply concerned again about the whole fox in the hen house scenario that we have had through this process, and how we haven't shown the proper balance. There has been such extreme, and I do mean extreme, concern from the police aspect. There hasn't been the balance and representation for the community. So when the chief of police drops into a meeting, oh, I'm just dropping in, check things out, and then he's allowed to contribute to that conversation, yet there's nobody representing the public, not even fully the city councilors that are discussing the issue. And a lot of people that care about this just have dropped out of the process because they didn't believe in it. There isn't the understanding of what has happened in our city that has led to this whole conversation. And there isn't an understanding of what continues to happen. And there isn't an understanding of what will happen in the future, because we've not done the best job here. And it's regretful. And one of the reasons that I have such strong feelings is because I'm the only counselor that was also a police commissioner. So I was actually involved in investigations, and I'm beholden to the rules of confidentiality around executive sessions. And I've had to listen to things be argued that, quite frankly, were not true, but I can't use the examples that I have because I'm not allowed to talk about them. And that has really been very painful. And I have listened from people speaking, having this uneven concern for officers, because there really isn't a deep understanding that there are sometimes things that happen that are not okay and are in violation of their directives and policies, which is why we have lawsuits. So we've never really thought from the place of how do we prevent lawsuits? How do we prevent future lawsuits? How do we handle the lawsuits that are dropped in the city's lap? And I was very concerned about the comment that was made that we have updated the complaint process, which we have, but I now have far too many people saying that, no, this is not something I'm going to do, because I don't think anything's going to be done. And I think I'll actually be retaliated against. That is deeply upsetting. I also, the last thing I'll say that continues to concern me, the talk of the fact that we have a new and improved use of force policy. We do. We have a better use of force policy in place than the one that was in place at the time some of the events that have caused lawsuits to occur happened. It doesn't change the fact that the use of force policy that was in place at the time of these incidents was violated in several different ways. That continues to be brushed over because no one wants to take responsibility for that fact. And no one wants to take responsibility for the fact that we should be working toward healing in the community, and we're not. We just keep pushing back on the concerns. So I'll continue to support this only because I know Councilor Bergman has done his best, and that it is better than nothing, but only just that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Grant. Are there any other individuals here at City Hall that wish to participate in the public hearing? Are there any individuals online who wish to participate in the public hearing? In which case I'd ask that you please use the raise hand function. Okay, I see no one raising their hand right now, and so for those here in person and those online, I'm going to give a sort of going once, going twice. All right, we will then close this first public hearing at 6:15 p.m. And the second public hearing will be 6 p.m. right back here in the Butcher Conference Room and online on August 22nd. Thanks for those of you who tuned in and for those of you here in person, the Butcher Conference Room.